You talked about it before in our mixtape segment, that you almost had quit. I didn't know that. Was that one occurrence, or has that been repetitive, a repetitive thought?
No, it was the time I spoke of was, I mean, as artists, as people, I'm sure people in whatever your career choice is, it's human, it's very human to get discouraged. You know, I think that's a part of success. It's trial and error, and I mean, the title track to my most recent album is "You Can't Fail Until You Quit," and that's like a mantra. That's something that I live by. And going back to that time, I really was like at a crossroads. Like I was losing people around me that were very close to me, like and losing them to incarceration and otherwise, and things in the streets and otherwise were just creating this dark cloud around my music career. At that time, it's 2011. Like, I mean, this is a part of my story that I think goes untold or not really brought to light. I signed a record deal in 2004. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is 2011. Like, I've been on a major. I've been halfway around the world with rap music. I've been this close to relative stardom or what. I don't know how people would classify from the outside looking in, but I mean, I was there. Like, I went through all of this. To get to this point, like, getting so close and then still feeling like you're so far away, or getting so close to where what you're doing is larger than life to the people where you come from, yet, you know, you don't got it like that. You can't move how you want to, or you're still not quite doing the stuff that takes it over. Well, why aren't you here? Why aren't, you know? And I mean, that eats away at you and otherwise. And then it's just like, you know, I had records that I was putting out there and other artists were putting out very, very similar records or records with the same language, the same lyrics almost. And, you know, I had all kind of stuff like that going on, just, you know, dealing with trying to come up. And like I said, it was at a time when like the personal toils were making the professional side of things not really seem all that worthwhile. And I got to a point where I was like, man, you know what? I'm not really feeling this. Like, I go to jail in a day, and none of this will matter. And so I think at one point during that whole span, like I was on a run, still just dropping music because dropping music seemed like the thing to do. It wasn't lucrative. I had some people listening to it. I had somewhat of an audience, but it was like, I felt like I was chasing my own tail, so to speak. And I had dropped a tape called Free at Last. And at some point in between Free at Last and that World Myself tape, I didn't feel free. And so I felt like I was selling myself short for what I was projecting. Like I at that time of that project was like, all right, I'm about to rejuvenate. I'm about to get my second win, and this and this and this is about to happen, and let's get it. And then I was still running into them same type of barriers or hurdles, speed bumps or whatever. And I got to a point where I'm like, man, fuck this. Like I'm not really like I'm not really focused on, like, success don't mean the same thing to me anymore. And so the thing about that War Myself project, that was music. I took what I felt like were my best songs at the time. Because I was still like, while I was kind of, you know, ready to call it quits, I still had a studio. I still had all this music I was doing, and, you know, people around me. Like, I had met Don Triple around that time, and we had started the Step Brothers project, and the idea was out there, like, hey, we should do this tape, this collab tape, blah, blah, blah. I given them my word that we were doing that, and I took my best music, which was Get Off My Line, which was Thinking of You. I had a gang of beats from like Lil Lodi at the time, and I put them on a playlist, and I was like, whatever, like I'm just gonna put this stuff out, like I don't care anymore, so to speak. And I still perform half of those songs, you know, like 4 years later. And it's like I put that out there, and the man that I am, I force not force, I know that sounds like negative almost, but I forced myself to keep my word. I was gonna say I forced myself to do the tape, but I forced myself to keep my word with Don Tripp. It was like, all right, we already put it out there amongst ourselves that we're gonna do this tape, so I'm gonna do it. And like I said, that was 2 months, from the 2.5 months from the war myself to finishing and putting Step Brothers out there. And it was as much in the interest of keeping my word and keeping the momentum of what he had going. But I mean, the rest is history. Like, shit, 15 million video views on, you know, videos that I'm on the other side of the camera and in the editing room and you know, put my brain trust out there, like on the front lines with the work. Like I said, like I'm the expert when it comes to Starlito. So from that, like I said, the rest is history. It was like, it didn't make sense to quit at that point. I'm like, wow, even though I was kind of discouraged and I was here with it, the feedback speaks for itself, and I'd be a fool to quit right now. And I mean, I just turned it up from there. And sometimes, you know, I say it on the TLC song, which is my favorite song right now. My darkest times what taught me to shine. And it was very much that. I took the best of what I had, just kind of shoved it out there, and it came back tenfold.
So are you saying the Step Brothers project almost never happened? Or it would have happened eventually?
Nah, I mean, I don't want to say it almost never happened because I never had a second thought about keeping my word. But it was that. It wasn't a like, this is gonna be huge, like we gotta do this. It was more so like, man, I told dude I'll do it, and I'm just not, like, that was part of what led to the discouragement. I had been in that situation on the other end so many times where things were supposed to be done, or I had somebody's word, or I was leaning on that, and it just didn't materialize. And I know how it made me feel. I know what it did for my career. And I mean, he had some promising things going on in his own regard, and I really respected his talent or whatever. So I'm like, I wouldn't be able to live with myself outside of his music for doing the same thing to somebody that I've had done to me, or you know, making somebody feel how I know I would never want to feel again, or never, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, he didn't do nothing to make me put my word on that, like other than be good at rapping, you know what I'm saying, and give me my props, and it's a mutual respect kind of thing. So we did it, and you know, it wasn't that it wasn't about to happen. It was just music wasn't a priority to me at that time. And I mean, that also, you know, speaks volumes for the music that we made together. That it was literally the music that brought me out of that dark space. You know, it was literally the music it was the music that we were making together, the rapport between my fans. I mean, a lot of that is, you know, we're in an age where we can see it. Like I said, when I was going to stations and clubs and otherwise with vinyl and mailing vinyl pieces and sending care packages around, like, you didn't really see how people reacted to it unless you were fortunate enough to go to those markets and play a show or whatever. And now you see it instantly. You know, it's instantaneous. I mean, you can gauge the metrics and you can actually see the response in a number sense, but also, like, you can't make somebody play your music for the doctor during the cancer treatment. You can't make somebody play your music when they come out of a coma, request the doctor to play your music until they recover and get their bearings about themselves, or while they're going through physical therapy because they're paralyzed, and your music means that you can't force that. Like, and like I said, I wouldn't otherwise know it if it weren't for, like, the current state of things. So, you know, I try not, like I said, I don't play by the rules, I don't adhere to the rules, but I'm definitely a proponent of like using your resources and doing everything that you can and paying attention. And it's just like if you pay attention to what's going on around you, like you can adapt to it. You can get ahead of the learning curve, and you can create your own energy, if you will.